gotkushTV. After a stellar 2019, your #1 Black conscious media platform is getting ready to go into overdrive for 2020. As we promised, last year we launched The Inside. We premiered the pilot for the Black Group Economic Show. We dropped 2 new seasons of Wordsmith, the #1 platform for artists with a message in the music. We've seen you out on the road, the Black Carpet Awards, the Reparations March, the Legacy Center of Excellence, and more. We brought you Dr. Mumbi, the legendary Rob Andy, Queen Diambi, Kemi Seba, Esther Stanford Jose, Leo Mohammed, Brother Leader Badaka, and more. And now, 2020 is set to see gotkushTV taking it to the next level. First up, look out for the official launch of the gotkushTV website, your official portal for all things GKTV, including new shows, news, views, and reviews, soon to be serving you with advertising opportunities and the launch of the GKTV African market. gotkushtv.com will also be a global hub for all things Black, conscious, and empowering from all over the Black world. Black achievements, Black excellence, education, health, positive Black imagery, entrepreneurs, Black brands, and charity work. All this and more can be found here at gotkushtv.com. Then there's the new shows. Decipher, the dynamic discussion and debate show. Health is Wealth, practical tips for living in wellness. Kush University, home of Black Warrior Scholarship. And UK Fire Entertainment, bringing you a slew of music videos for your listening and viewing pleasure. Look out for more of The Insight, Wordsmith, and the full 3rd season of the Black Group Economic Show, all coming your way soon. As always, the GKTV film team is available for hire to cover your events and all filming needs. Visit us at gotkushtv.com for hire inquiries and more information. Stand by all Black businesses through our website, social media, and show content. We have monumental advertising, sponsorship, and network opportunities catering especially for you. gotkushTV is about to take off. To join us for the ride, there's 4 things you can do. 1, subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell to make sure you don't miss a release. Join us on all social media and hit up gotkushtv.com to subscribe to our mailing list for exclusive opportunities in the near future. 2, like. Let us know you're feeling our content by hitting that ever so important button of approval. 3, comment. We want to hear your feedback on everything we're putting out, so make sure your presence is felt in the comment section. 4, share. Spread the word by hitting that share button and exposing your circle to the magnificence that is gotkushTV. We look forward to building with you throughout 2020 and servicing you with high quality Black media production. gotkushTV. Beyond discussion, beyond debate, we put the power in Black media.
Give me 45 seconds and I'll...
Greetings, family. Welcome to another edition of Quarantine Convos live on gotkushTV. My name is Shakara, and we are very and extremely blessed to be bringing you all the way live from Texas, United States of America, kings and queens, the one and only, the goddess Neith from the channel, the Blackest Truth, kings and queens. All right. First of all, let's make sure we got the goddess Neith coming through loud and clear. Greetings, Neith.
Peace. How y'all doing?
Good. You're coming through loud and clear, Queen. You got a good mic there. You know what I'm saying? We enjoy that. We enjoy good mics around here. Right, family. We are live on YouTube and on Facebook. If you are watching via the Facebook, however, we do encourage you to come true to the YouTube because that is our primary platform where you can interact in the comment section also. We will be opening up the lines, so do stay tuned. If you want to say a word to the goddess Neith, ask a question, you know what I'm saying, make a comment, get her thoughts on something, or just show some love, show some beautiful Black love. Feel free to just stay tuned. We'll be sharing the link in a few minutes, kings and queens. And whilst you're here, like the video. Feel free to utilize the chat and also share it far and wide. Share it with your friends, your family, our brethren, our sister, anywhere in the black world, kings and queens. We are your number one black conscious platform coming out of the UK. Want to send a special shout out to brother Makon and Sankofa in the chat, watching live right about now, kings and queens. And we know more will be coming through shortly. We want to send a special shout out to brother Leon Mohammed, who we had in our last quarantine convos. And before that, we had the one and only Jamelia. If you have not seen those episodes, check out those episodes. And we got more coming for you in the coming weeks, kings and queens. Just choose lockdown, it no means so we pop down. You know, kings and queens. All right, so we're here, gotkushTV, servicing our community in all the ways we need to. We got to national racialism inside the chat. Also, once again, kings and queens, like the video as you come through and also share it. The Blackest Truth.
Yes. How y'all doing?
Well, sis, it's a pleasure, yeah, because in this digital universe that we're in at the moment, you know, as they say, not all skin folk are kinfolk, and so the kinfolk have to link up and you know, form alliances and magnify the message out here, kings and queens. And you are one such platform in terms of putting out a message that is very much in line with what we do here as gotkushTV. And so we just thought we had to reach out to you and make that link, you know what I'm saying, formal and all these things. So how are you in general, sis, right about now? And how are you dealing with the whole COVID-19 isolation quarantine situation?
Yeah, you know, I'm doing well personally. I'm grateful just with everything that's going on. I kind of already was living kind of like a COVID-19 lifestyle prior to this. I didn't really go out much. I really didn't have a lot of social interaction as is. I pretty much stay here and put out content. And even my personal business, I just go to the post office back and forth. So this kind of is my life, but just seeing how everything else has changed, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of annoying that so many people have now utilized virtual reality or virtual digital existence.
Yes.
I'm like, yo, this is my niche. I need y'all to go back to work. I need y'all. Facebook Lives are going down just because too many people are on at one time. So it could be annoying on that aspect, but I'm grateful. I'm thankful that, you know, it's not affecting me as hard as it and heavily as it is some other people.
Some other people, definitely. I mean, so what are black people still in Texas? What's the black population like in Texas right about now?
Yes, like it's a lot of black people in Texas. I think it has this on TV, it has like a Western look. I will not be honest and tell you, I cannot be honest and tell you I know exactly the amount of millions of people that are in Texas, but I can guarantee you it's not a shortage of us.
Right.
You know, like I have black next door neighbors. I can go out in the streets and see black people. It's you know, of course you have like racism everywhere, but it's not so. It's not kind of like an Iowa or Utah. It's not like
that's interesting. I think that most in terms of outside perception, like there's a few places in the States that we would consider to have high levels of like open white supremacy, like Alabama. Is you know what I'm saying, them places there, around them places there. So Texas would be in that whole argument. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so when you say that Ohio is worse, that might be a surprise to a lot of people.
Yeah, well, when I say Ohio is worse, I mean the amount of white people.
Right.
I will be honest, like on my way to work one time, I think I mentioned this in one of my videos. On my way to work one time, I did see a noose or like a rope. Like I saw it hanging from the back of a pickup truck. So racism is here. Like it's kind of like something, I guess we've all become so socialized to it, you know, where it's really extreme and you know where to hang out at, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, sis. I hear you. All right. So so in that respect now, how is the black community in Texas coping with the whole COVID-19 situation? Recently, we've had some reports, and I'm made to understand that some of this may be very New York centered, but that our community over there is suffering for more in terms of the death rate than anybody else. So is that affecting the black community in Texas a whole heap?
We do have infections in Houston. There were about 600 plus infections there. I can't say the demographics that were totally black. Our mayor in Houston is taking preliminary methods. He's taking it seriously. Dallas, which is a heavily black populated area, they started taking coronavirus very seriously the minute it happened. Universities have been shut down. You know, schools have been shut down for like the last 3 weeks. So for sure, like Texas is a place where if it snows, which it rarely snows, the whole state shuts down. So we kind of shut down for no reason a lot of times and just take it to the extreme.
Okay.
But the Black population here, it's not like the barber who passed away because he was doing house calls or something like that.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we give thanks for small mercies. I think we're kind of similar in London, in the sense of the fact that there's a lot of people that are around us in Europe that are having it a lot worse than we are in London, quite specifically. Do you know what I'm saying? So I mean, where are you on the whole? Because I mean, I'm sure you would have. I've kind of refrained from delving into the whole or getting wrapped up in the whole conspiracy conversation. To a significant degree, but Kings and Queens, check out the last episode of the Insight and we engage in an analysis of what exactly is a conspiracy theory, because I think it's a term that we throw around in terms of as though we're only talking about theories as opposed to actual things that happen. You know what I'm saying, to us as a people. But in relation to COVID, where are you on the whole aspect of conspiracy, and whether it's a biological weapon or any of these kinds of things?
Right. It's kind of like after a while, I have to put out content that my viewers want to watch. It's not so much about if I'm convinced on something or not. It's about when I read those comments, people are letting me know what they want.
Yes.
On a personal level, do I feel as if it is some form of biological warfare weapon? I do. I do feel as if it's some biological warfare weapon. And even when I put it out in my video, I still was intentional to mention, regardless if something is created as a biological warfare weapon or not, it's still a biological warfare weapon. It's still real. It still has a cause and effect to it. And I think that some of us are so wrapped up in the fact that we are such conspiracy theorists, we think it's not real because we don't deem it as natural.
Yeah, man. So in that respect now, because like, are you following the guidelines in the sense of, you know?
Oh yes. Now, we're not stupid now. Okay, now look, there's a difference between being a conspiracy theorist and being a total fool. Wait a minute now. It's just kind of like as I have my mask on, I'm like, they did this, right? They did this, right? Like I'm a fool because they crazy, and I'm already growing my garden, but
no, I take that point because I feel like for me, I've seen some stuff, but as it stands, I just don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, there's so much information, and even among the conspiracy theory arguments, there are things that contradict each other, and what, you know what I'm saying, and them kind of things there. So to me, it's best to err on the side of caution without succumbing to fear as much as possible, to find that balance while still investigating the truth of what is taking place right about now. But outside of that, though, since I feel like sometimes we're looking for a boogeyman in the sky when really the forces that are against us are very real and tangible and right in front of us. They're called the government. They're called the police. They're called the health service. You know what I mean? And these kinds of things. So sometimes we don't need Big Brother. We just need to look at what's in front of us right now. And what's your thoughts on that?
Really, just 1 + 1 = 2. It's funny that you mentioned that. I was listening to the ancestor Dr. Amos Wilson just yesterday, and he was reminding me of how the U.S. government is a gang. Yes. Like exactly what a gang would do to its people. They come in and say, "This is my territory. Regardless if you like it, this is what's going to happen." Anybody that tries to take down the gang, they would neutralize them. So in a world where chaos and backwards living is normal and it's natural, of course, it's just a world of mass confusion. And I'm kind of like where you're at when it comes down to the 5G. Everybody has conspiracies on that, and regardless of what's real and what's not, it shows me that because we're not in our proper place as Africans, we have nothing to say. It's like when your mic is mute. Even what you do want to contribute to the conversation, you don't contribute because someone else is controlling the panel on what is able to be done to your life.
Yeah, so I mean, I run a show on this channel called The Insight, which is just me giving a perspective on a particular topical issue, and I featured Baba Amos Wilson in that video, where he, I mean, like, I'm an Amos Wilson guy, so I deliver presentations like, 9.9 times out of 10. If I deliver the presentation, Amos Wilson will be in it some way.
Right.
Him and Mama Melinda, I knew, I kind of feel very, very close to you in terms of helping to guide my analysis. But he basically making the point that often by the time you figured out what the conspiracy is, it's already too late. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you better spend your time organizing to fend off the impacts of conspiracies wherever they find themselves. And you'll do that when you're properly organized, whether you know about the conspiracy or not, whether you know the details of it or not, my sister. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to shout out to the chat quickly, my sis. Big up to Miss Amelia in the chat. Big up to Mac. Oh, big up Mac and Psychofa already. Western Brother. Yeah, big up to Marley. Says peace, love, sounds, and light to the light minds. You don't know. Lingile Kwasi. Yeah, big up yourself. I want to know where people are at again. Yeah? So if anybody anywhere in the world, yeah, if you're in UK, USA, the continent, you know what I'm saying, the Caribbean, let us know where you're at, Kings and Queens. We want to know. And make sure you like the video when you come through and share the video, family. Share the video far and wide. We are locked in right now. We have the pleasure of being joined by Sister Neith, the goddess Neith of the Blackest Truth. And if you want to know about the Blackest Truth, the link is in the description to the video. So make sure you hit that link and go subscribe to the Blackest Truth right now, Kings and Queens. Right now, must watch pro-Black conscious content, Kings and Queens, for the Black African family around the world. You must check it out. Sis, I wanted to just touch on you and your works, yeah, and what you do. What is it that what's your profession, let's say, so to speak?
Right, definitely. I recently graduated with my biology degree. Right now I'm seeking opportunity that would allow me to go back to school and also have an opportunity to work there simultaneously. So it's something right now. I currently work for myself as an entrepreneur. I have my own clothing line, and then I do the Blackest Truth full time. Right. But as far as a career, as far as what I would like to contribute, is definitely on a biological sense, getting back to school, studying further, possibly building my own research lab. That's kind of like the vision and the goal of me on a personal level.
So you're going to be finding us the corona cure in years to come.
Right. I'm gonna have my own syringe.
So what brought you down that road, the biological road?
Yeah, I think just to be honest, I probably always just loved science. I stayed outside often when I was younger. I played outside a lot. I always kind of like bugs and different things like that. So once I finally entered into school, science just came really naturally. It wasn't anything that was as difficult as like a math or in my case, like a physics. It was just it was really easy to me. And next thing you know, when I decided what I was going to do in high school, I had an opportunity to go to a college preparatory school. Right. And there I decided that I wanted to do pre-med. So it just
started from there. Mm-hmm. So I mean, so in that respect, then I must kind of jump back. Now that you told me that to this previous conversation in relation to COVID. So you are informed enough, then I take it, to be able to analyze a lot of the information that the government is giving us from a scientific perspective in terms of how disease and viruses work. Yeah. So just give us a perspective on that then, in terms of what the narrative has been, where you see truth, where you see inconsistencies, where you see blatant fallacies, if there are any.
Okay. So let's talk about where I see truth. Right. Obviously, if you even look at medical professionals, those who are working within the hospitals, those who are getting in scrubs every day, who are wearing quarantine gear, mm-hmm. they themselves, not only just the footage, but just the different documentations of you might be hearing in your own life, are accounting that coronavirus is real. And that's where I take my position on whether something is biological warfare doesn't take away the fact that it's still warfare. Right. And it exists. Mm-hmm. So on that aspect, I definitely believe COVID-19 coronavirus is something that's real. Mm-hmm. In regards to, I think back to a professor of mine who actually was from the East. He would be somebody who would be considered like a Dravidian or kind of like one of the outcasts, one of the untouchables. Yes. Yeah, the brother looked black, and he would always remind our class that research scientists are the best type of scientists are those who evolve the information, are those who question. I think a lot of times when it comes down to our medical professionals, not everyone, our medical professionals are kind of like the scientists who took what we learned in school and got a job with it.
Right.
And that's just the goal. I wanted to get a job. I wanted to work in this profession. I wanted to get my 6 figures and pay off my student loans, right? And then just be able to provide a nice lifestyle for my family.
Yes, yes, yes.
And then there are other scientists like myself who not only want a profession in science, but we even question the science that exists right now.
Right.
We say, what if what we believe about the atmosphere isn't right? Could we do an experiment on it? Or what about the cell reproductive process don't we understand? Could we research that a little bit more? So we don't take everything as simply fact.
Right.
And we do see as fact, we have this thing that nothing is fact in science. It's only what can be validated by the engineering opportunities you have and what technology and understanding will allow you to maximize. There was a time when we believed in Greek mythology. Now, when you think about it, it's totally asinine that people would ever believe in it.
Yeah.
But at that time, that was what was on its fact. You know?
Yes.
So you got to take science in life as a always evolving something. The more we understand, the more we can add to it. Then we could possibly go back and say, okay, well, we thought about this isn't what we thought, because now we found a new organism. Now we found a new species. You get what I'm saying? So I'm more so kind of like a research scientist than just a medical doctor.
Yes. Point taken. So in that respect then, because there's a whole debate going on in the conscious community right now in relation to the need for scientific literacy. And I believe that is very important. It's a very important conversation. Where I push back, however, is some of the narrative that speaks to the scientific community as an infallible force within society at the moment. If we're talking about forces that are against us as a people, it seems logical to me that we would factor the scientific community into that equation. So from your perspective as a scientist, my sister, how do you consider our relationship with the scientific community as it is and what it should be? Should we trust wholesale the scientific community if they say this is what it is, or is it reasonable for us, let's say, non-scientists, to ask questions or to query or to reject even certain information that we hear coming from the scientific community at different points?
Right. Yes. Should we take everything from the scientific community at wholesale wholeheartedly? No, I wouldn't. And because if you look at history, science has also validated or tried to validate or justify how Black people were of this lower species. And because we were of this lower species and we could feel less, this would be the justification for slavery. Right. So science has a way of being able to function in a way to justify the mistreatment that you would experience on a daily basis. Recently, I spoke at a panel for Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, and they were talking about epigenetics. And they asked me, Neith, how do you feel about this, having a biology degree? And I said, there are parts of epigenetics that I really do believe. And there are also parts of epigenetics that I have to question, because having the understanding of white supremacy, they always try to justify our epigenetics that I have to question. So if we can figure out a sector of how to connect our behavior with our genes, then that could turn into something else where they can justify, okay, now we're going to give y'all this medicine, or now we're going to put y'all in these corridors because of X, Y, and Z. So do I believe that you take it wholesale? No. However, what I also believe is that a lot of science is also true. Right. It is giving you an illuminating direction that you could go in. And this is one of the reasons why I always say I got to get my ass back in school, because we not only need scientists, we need scientists to think along the lines of a conspiracy theorist, to say, y'all always doing something with Black folks, so let me do my own research,
Yes, 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 yes. Well, Marcus Messiah Garvey said that we must raise a generation of scientists par excellence. And so
Okay.
we give thanks for you being on that mission. So you said you're on the biological route. You run a fashion line. By the way, Kings and Queens, I was thinking of what to wear for this particular interview right here. And I figured I was speaking to a powerful African woman. So I'm going to reflect a powerful African woman in the goddess's face, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to put on my self-designed Winnie Mandela t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? To reflect the power that the goddess Neith brings to the platform, Kings and Queens, you know what I'm saying? So check it out. I was just saying that to say I have a clothing line as well, sis. You know, but you run a clothing line. So tell us about the clothing line, a little piece.
Yes, I have a clothing line known as Moriette and Tessa's Designs. It is a fusion between kind of like a African American and African design, or even it wouldn't even just be an African American. I guess it would be kind of like a diaspora African, because I know some ladies in the UK that also love the designs I make. So it's just kind of like a fusion between all of our cultures. I noticed that when it came down to traditional African clothing, like I would love the prints. I just didn't like how long everything was, or the fact that it was just a little bit too traditional for me. So I was like, how to make this kind of like my own style, my own vibe, and still hold on to like my African roots. And that's kind of just where it birthed. So you'll be able to find like a lace skirt, and the skirt, you'll be able to wear like an African print top, and you can go to the club with it. You can go with your girlfriends. You can go to, a wedding, just wherever you would naturally go. You could go and still be trending without,
So you haven't got nothing for the man, then? What about
Not yet. All right. It was supposed to be coming in 2020, but coronavirus then put the whole year on pause.
I hear you, sis. I hear you. Yeah, same here. All right. So we're put it on the website for your clothing line.
Yes, that is going to be Moriette and Tessa's. That is MORRIET and ANDTESAS.com. I know that's a lot. MorietteandTessas.com. And you can find all of my latest fashion. I have a new collection coming up this summer. So be on the lookout, ladies. And you'll hopefully, by the time we'll be out of quarantine, and you'll be able to wear something nice, get you a king, you know how we do.
Now that you said that, I won't be asking you your business in relation to that subject. However, I will say to big up to Jay Cast, who is a brother who recently his team goes back to a beautiful African. Is it prince or princess? I can't remember. Let us know if it's a prince or princess, my brother. But congratulations to you, and I hope the little one and the family are well. Thank you for joining us on gotkushTV, my brother. We are speaking to the goddess Neith from the Blackest Truth. So now that we've dealt with your biological career, we touched on your clothing line. Let's talk about your online media presence platform in terms of the Blackest Truth. How did that come about?
Oh yes, it came on accident. It truly came on accident. It's just like truly the power of social media. I was again a biology student. The professor that I previously mentioned that would always require us to kind of like push the envelope, to push the fold. He gave us some cancers to study. He gave us each a genetic disease to study. I had Burkitt lymphoma. He told me to go home, study it, and then the next day we were going to give a presentation on it. Right. And when I took it home, I studied it, and I found out that it was kind of like a cancerized form of HIV. I was already enlightened. I already had knowledge of self. I had already been reading and studying Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing, Neely Fuller Jr., of which I give a lot of my props to. Like what you give Amos Wilson is what I give them, Yes, so when I went back to class the next day and I told my course what Burkitt lymphoma was, I basically was like, this isn't really just a cancer. This is genetic warfare in Africa. Right. My classroom was looking at me like, girl, what are you talking about? They thought I was crazy. So I would end up going home. I got in my car and I did like a quick video on Facebook telling my friends on Facebook what I had talked about in class. And the video got like 1,400 views. And I'm like, that at the time, I had never got one video that had like more than 25 views. Oh, they must have really liked that.
Right.
I then go home. I set up my computer and I attach my camera. My homegirl had just gave me a camera because she used to do makeup. So she moved to Miami and she's like, here, you can have this. So you said you wanted to get into like doing videos.
Yes.
Okay, good. I plug it up. I kid you not. I record the video in like 5 minutes. Didn't even know how to edit. I did the taking like 10 times and that was just like the best version that came out. I upload the video. I do that maybe like 4 more times. Like, like a month later, the video just goes viral. And I'm just like, what in the world happened? And then from there, just things just started to change gradually. And from there, it got to a point where people wanted to hear the content that I had been concealing the whole time. You know, I was just kind of like a biology student in class, just getting along, you know, just giving these people the answers that they wanted. I never really could just give my side or what I had felt. It was just something that I felt like I was just going to go off and just, you know, tell my Facebook friends. So from there, because I didn't want to lose my job and I had to change my name, like everything just really came organically.
Right.
So I started a YouTube channel. I moved all of my videos over. When I was looking for my African name, I really wanted to see what represented me and what was the name that I felt like I could stand by. And Neith, when I found that goddess in Kemet, I was like, oh, she's perfect. So, and that's the guy.
Listen, because when we hear about Kemet, Neith is not one of the more popular ones that we hear about. Give our viewers an idea, insight into Neith.
Yeah, Neith was one of the goddesses who was definitely on the back end. She's said to be the mother of Set. So Neith is the goddess of war, hunting, wisdom, and weaving. She's going to be the goddess who's going to come in, obviously, when some reconstructive measures need to take in place. When you need to bring more of your fire self, when maybe not the more peaceful, more courteous approach, she's not going to be the one that you're going to call on in times of like just like total serenity. Neith is going to be, you know, just kind of like different armies had like an instrument they would chime off prior to going into battle. Neith is going to be the one that you would call on then. So
yes.
I was just like, yeah, this is me. Like, this is my person, not who you see physically. Like, this is my person.
I hear that, sis. I hear that. That's beautiful. But I think that it's one of them journeys that, in fact, I let the cat out of the bag. I'm actually writing a documentary on this subject. In terms of Africans who reclaim African names, because I think there's so many untold narratives around that particular journey. I was blessed to not have to partake in that journey because my father did that before me. So I was born with all African names. You know what I'm saying? I'm born in the craft, so to speak.
Right.
To use a Matrix reference, I was born. My big brother, adopted big brother, says I was born in Zion, so to speak. In that respect, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's a beautiful journey. But because of that, I was surrounded by my father's generation and even people in my own generation who went through that journey of reclaiming, as we say, African names in that regard. So it's a beautiful journey. So give thanks for sharing that with our viewers. Kings and Queens, we are in. Let's say I'm gonna give it like 5-10 minutes. And we're going to open it up for you to speak to the goddess Neith if you want to interact. While you're here, the description and subscribing to the Blackest Truth, the goddess Neith's channel. The Instagram is there, the Facebook is there. So just make sure that you're linked with the Blackest Truth on every form of social media, family. You run classes on how to go viral on YouTube, right, Neith?
Yes, I do.
How did you become an expert in that?
Well, one, when I accidentally went viral, yes. When I had about 4 or 5 other clips go viral after that, as somebody, after a while, it gets to a point where if you do want to be able to make a living off of this, you do have to figure out the formula. It's no longer about turning on the camera and putting out content after that. It's about turning on the camera, putting on content that people want to hear, and getting that content in front of the people that you needed to. So it's just kind of like having great food, but in a restaurant and nobody knows about the restaurant. Like it doesn't matter how great your content, your channel is if nobody knows about it.
Yes.
So as someone who started to even study social media, like I follow a lot of different people's pages, look at their content, and I started to see this common denominator between viral content. And it could be viral content from any aspect, from pets to, makeup tutorials, from plants to, even if you look at some clips, it'll be a car driving and a car spins out of control and it'll be like 36 million views on it. Like, what about that whole clip that you just watched? It circulate around the world 36 million times. So I started to study that. And then because I was also thinking to myself, okay, I can't talk about how to put out viral content if I don't make a video go viral. So then self-made came right and started to do numbers. I was like, okay, I figured out the formula. Like I started trying it on my own videos to see, okay, can I do what I'm saying to other people?
Yes.
And I'm like, if it's working for you.
Indeed. And you're charging for the wisdom, right? You're charging for the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's a profession of mine. Like, let me definitely always put it out there. I'm not one of those black conscious individuals that feel like everything about me or everything about my profession needs to go out for free. It's for sure you could figure out how to go viral on YouTube on your own. You don't need the guidance to do that. It's people that have already put out hundreds of videos on how to go viral. However, if you want my expertise, this is what I feel like I'm worthy of. If anybody doesn't feel like I'm worthy, they won't send a PayPal invoice. But for those that want to know the information from me, this is my price. So, we got this thing where we feel like just because you enlightening people, it has to be free. No. Like, this is why so many of our scholars and our leaders, went out of business. Like, their families aren't being taken care of, like a Jay-Z's or a Beyonce's. We got this thing where if I'm helping, everything has to be for free.
Nonsense. Our brothers and sisters have to earn livings. And I say back to Amos Wilson again, he says, that we aren't going to liberate our people with 2-hour meetings on a Saturday. The work that needs to be done needs to be 24/7, 365. And so we're going to have to be able to earn a living so that we can feed ourselves and our families while serving our community. That's just a given, kings and queens. So I don't knock you at all, sister, for charging for the knowledge, and we should want to pay for it. We should if you've taken the time, to gather this knowledge and this information, it should be our offering to you in the name of reciprocity that we give you something in return. You know what I'm saying? So we give thanks.
If I could also say, that's also one of the reasons why I didn't want to advertise on the Blackest Truth anymore. This is something more, like, this has nothing to do with the Blackest Truth. This is for anyone who would be, just because of what you're saying right there, like, it started to be like
You know what it is, when it comes for gotkushTV, right? When it comes to money, don't talk to me, because I have a background in like servicing the community. So it's like I don't have money conversations very well. How much are you? How much am I charging for the service? That's not. I totally get where you're coming from. I just want to do the work, and right. So yeah, I totally get you. You know what I'm saying? Right, kings and queens, we got brother Keely of the Awadu. Locked in once again. He says he's going to be subscribing to not to gotkushTV, to the Blackest Truth. If you're not familiar, brother Keely, sis, get familiar. He's in Las Vegas.
Nice.
Vegas. You know what I'm saying. But brother Keely, do check your email. We sent you an email, so do check your email, my brother. Because we're looking to get you on the quarantine convos. Brother Keely is the founder of LIB, blacklib.com, the radio and TV network, but that's been running from long time. He was one of the early ones in terms of conscious black media in the digital space. Brother Keely is a trailblazer in that regard. So in essence, we're kind of all standing on his shoulders,
as
black conscious YouTubers. In that regard, you know what I'm saying? So big up to brother Keely. He dropped a cameo. Sorry. Thank you for that, sister. Apparently, I'm giving people some sound issues there. I love it. You know, the gotkushTV family, they keep us in check. They keep us in check, so we give thanks. So yeah, what was I saying? Brother Keely dropped a cameo appearance on gotkushTV the other day, Quarantine Convos, and the people then wanted to bring him back. So we're going to be bringing him back soon. So check it in, Brother Keely. We're going to get you back. And we look forward to speaking to you more in that regard. Right, family, we're going to be sharing the link very soon. I do just want to get into, though, one subject before we open up the line so you can speak to the goddess Neith. And that is, she mentioned her recent viral video. 12 lies, told by Netflix in the recent self-made, series on Madam C.J. Walker. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, sis. I watched it, and I'm not an expert on the life of Madam C.J. Walker. She's obviously I know about and know about in a number of different ways. But watching it, when you watch something, because I'm like you, sis. By the way, I love the way you introduce your shows. Give the people your show introduction again, just so they know.
Peace of love, y'all. It is the goddess Neith night. This is the Blackest Truth, where I take the not so easy topic of racism, white supremacy, break it down and make it easier for us to maneuver through.
Indeed, yes. So we're breaking down white supremacy and racism. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like I'm probably like I get the impression that you're like me in the sense of the fact that you can't watch a program without breaking down some white supremacy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord, let me get my pen and paper. Lord.
You know what I'm saying? Like some white supremacy is up in this, and it needs to be broken down. You know what I'm saying? That's how we are when these things are concerned. And because of that, like I end up watching a lot of the white man's television. Yeah, like I'm just so all the shows from the Scandal to the How to Get Away with Murder to the Queen Sugar to any of the superhero shows, you know what I'm saying? The Black Lightning, the Flash, anything. You know what I'm saying? You have to check it out because we know there's some white supremacy up in this. And you know what I'm saying? And too many other people are locked into that world without the analytical and critical mind. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? To break it down, or even desire necessarily to break it down. Yeah. So we appreciate the work that you're doing. But more importantly, whenever they put black on something, especially in this day and age, we know it's going to be fraught with some white supremacy. So when I'm watching this thing, and even not being an expert on the life of Madam C.J. Walker, you're realizing where the white supremacy lies. Right. And then you go and do your research, and it confirms that you were even correct without even having the actual evidence of the knowledge. Yeah. So what was your process in terms of watching it and then doing the video that you did?
Okay, so a couple of steps. Remember, I said I was thinking about the go viral course. In order to go viral, you got to listen to your audience. And so many times people want me to watch these movies. Right. The type of content that I like to put out is the type of content that will require me to read, research. That's what I like. After a while, I'm like, I don't want to watch this, but that's what they want. So that's what I got to give them first, right?
Yes.
So I started taking movies reviews seriously around Harriet. So ever since Harriet came out, I've tried to be consistent about Queen and Slim, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So when Self-Made came out, I finally was able to catch the show before it had got old to everybody. See, by the time I typically watch the movies, they've already been out a month. Okay, I'm right on time. So essentially what I did was I watched each episode one by one, and each episode I would stop and write what my notes, write my notes. So essentially what I'm saying is when I was taking the notes of Self-Made, I was taking it prior to knowing what was a lie. I was only taking the notes as a face value viewer. And once I went back and just to do my review on it, they lied about so much. It got to the point I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Y'all just lying about stuff that don't even have to be lied about.
Yes.
So in order to put the formula together, I knew not only did I have to put out a fire video that would dispel so many of the lies that they told, I knew that the title had to be something that made people say, I gotta watch it, right? Like I knew that the thumbnail has to look a certain type of way. And I knew that Netflix had to be put in the title. Like that, it was a crucial way that I had to set up the title. So all I did again, once I started researching, I just started putting points of things that were lied to. So if I came up with 10 lies, it would have been called 10 lies Netflix told. So as I kept reading more articles and then going back to Lelia Bundle's book, I'm just kind of like, yo, another lie, another lie. So after it finally I came up with the list and put it out. Edited the material. I felt like I was kind of like trying to rush against time. Like, again, you know how it is when you're trying to put out a video when it's a trending topic, it's a short time window. People don't care about it anymore.
Yep.
So I hurried up and recorded it, and then I put out the content, and then from there, I didn't even think it was going to do what it's doing now. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it might have got like 20,000 the most. Like, right. And I didn't even expect it from YouTube. YouTube is a very difficult platform to get thousands of numbers on your videos. It's so much easier to go viral on Facebook than it is on YouTube. So just from there, and I really tried to put the context in Netflix. I don't know about you, but I'm personally somebody who gets really annoyed whenever we're kind of like, Black folks is crabs in a bucket. We're crabs in a bucket. I always reiterate, if crabs are born in the water, who put them in the bucket? Like, put the blame where it's supposed to be. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand that we have faults to take place. But anytime you look at white media always blames Black people, whether we're guilty or not. So if I'm going to put out content, I'm going to put the content on who's the governmental structure that is existing right now. Whose enemy lines are we're behind? We're behind white supremacy. So they're responsible. All of this, Octavia Spencer and LeBron James, that's typical Black on Black crime, just on an intellectual level. No, I'm holding Netflix responsible. I'm holding white supremacy responsible.
Yes.
Added it all up together. That's what happens.
Yeah, man. No, and I was in line since I think I'm responsible for a couple thousand of them views. Because
Thank you.
Because I was sharing the video far and wide, and there were a few videos, about analyzing the content of this show. Yours was the best for me, in quality, but also in content. And I applaud you again, because the Black thing is very popular at the moment. Yeah. And the pro-Black thing is very popular at the moment. But there's a lot of pro-Black that ain't our kind of pro-Black. And in a sense of the fact that, there's a lot of, in that there's like our kind of pro-Black. And so listening to you, you get a vibe. And I just know we're sharing a perspective here. So I was pleased to share that from our kind of perspective.
Right.
I'm saying, like, in that kind of regard. Now, I'll share a couple of my, because I watched it with my family, right? So I'll share a couple of my, this is foolishness kind of moments, right? And see if you relate to where I'm coming from, yeah? So now, like, you're watching it, and then you're thinking, okay, you're listening to how Madam CJ Walker is speaking to people. No, first of all, you're watching and I'm thinking, first of all, how the relationship between Madam CJ Walker, and
Hold on. I think when you move your arm, that's when the mic messes up.
Oh, sorry. No, I was saying that the sister who they say she stole the formula from, her name is just gone out of my head.
Addie Monroe.
Addie Monroe, right? Right now. So then immediately you're questioning, well, did it happen like that? You know what I'm saying? That is like, did they create license in this thing? Yeah, in terms of, her condemning her because of the, her aesthetic, her phenotype, her skin kind of things there. Did that happen in that kind of way? Immediately, I couldn't wait. So I got the phone immediately, like, yo, walk on. And it was like, no, it never got her, right? Then now the next part was, I'll give you two more and you can let me know if these are red flags for you as well, yeah? Then there was, at first, I was like, oh, I appreciate how her husband is speaking to her, like not the first husband that was drunk and ran at the house, but the one that Blair Underwood played, right? DJ Walker, right? Was it cool? Yeah, how he was, he used to celebrate her and celebrate her figure and all of something there.
Right.
That's interesting. You know what I'm saying? You know, 'cause you don't normally get that representation of a black couple, yeah. But
Right.
then my cynical mind said, when are they gonna mess this up? You know what I'm saying? That's another point, yeah. All right. So then I'm seeing now how she's begins to talk to him, yeah, and not rate what he's saying, how he speaks. She talks down to the man, innit, right? Did she actually speak to him like that? Is that how she really related to the man?
Right.
How she spoke to her daughter's husband immediately, just off the bat. Was she that emasculating? Yeah, like I'm thinking. Right. Then finally, and I'm not. There is a war. Yeah, mic is right. Okay, too loud. Okay, thank you, brother Keely. Thank you very much. Apparently, my mic is too loud. Sorry, family. I'm usually more on point than this, but give thanks for keeping me in check. Then now there is the there was. I have a sixth sense for how the black male-female relationship dynamic is portrayed in popular media. Yeah. So I know, like, when I see a sister, just like almost immediately when she comes in the show, I know she's going to be with a black man or a white man or a woman, right? You know what I'm saying? And I kid you not, sis, yeah. As soon as Tiffany had sat down, as soon as she entered the show and her mother was doing the hair and the conversation was about getting married, I knew she was going to be a lesbian, right? In the show, right? I knew it off the bat, right? It was, you know what I'm saying? I just knew, yeah? And these are all points that you pulled out. So I was asking, really, were these all red flags prior to you doing the research, or did you come to it just, you know what I'm saying? After?
Yeah. So you can kind of think of like the Madam CJ Walker video a lot, how my first video that went viral went. I'm just simply studying something that somebody put on my table. And like you said, when we watch things, we already ask questions. So it was the same thing when I watched the movie Ma, when I watched what was the movie with Lupita Nyong'o, Us. When I watched that, you know, I was interpreting what did the gloves mean? What did the scissors mean? Why were they wearing red, crimson jumpsuits? This is just me thinking as I think. But then also knowing the ploy of white supremacy and what's always the target, I'm keeping that in mind with my notes as well. So, and that's I feel like that's what allows it to be just like organic. That's why when I did do the review and I put out the emasculation, the LGBT trend, like these were all things that I equally was annoyed by watching it, just like y'all were too, right? So it's just kind of like I knew to mention, yet again, here they go with this stuff. You know, just like in Queen of Slim, here this go again. Even, you know, when Rockefeller, she always refers to Rockefeller. When I found out they didn't have no conversation, I'm like, I literally said, throw the whole series away.
The whole, yeah. I love when you said that.
Throw it all away.
Yes. Now, see, for me, yeah, because I saw that they have one thing that white supremacy is good at doing is even in the era of mass feminism, preserving the supremacy of the white man, yeah, especially in images in terms of how they portray black people. So you've got a series now, you know, where all throughout it, the sister is having contention with black men, but she celebrates this white man who is the epitome, like not any white man, you know, this is Rockefeller. This is the epitome, yeah, of white supremacist capitalism, straight, right? You know what I'm saying? And there is no black man that she looks up to in that kind of way. And that's not even saying that she must look up to a black man. It could be a black woman. There's no black woman that she looks up to in that kind of way, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, there's no other black individual that she looks up to in that kind of way. But Rockefeller is inserted. This never happened, but they took creative license to put it in the story anyway to preserve white supremacy in what is a black feminist narrative,
right? And you know, some other, just like you're saying that, something else that I didn't add, just because you kind of know how it is if you're putting out content. Some good stuff gets edited out, some stuff that you just like, I just can't add it. Yeah. The brother who was the biggest investor called her over to his funeral home and he tried to rape her. That
Yeah.
the black business owners were the ones who walked out on her when she wanted to give them their idea. The white man walked in, she didn't even have to speak. And they said, "We know exactly who you are." I could have added so much more.
Yeah.
It was just a reiteration. And then when I look back at the actual facts, CJ was one of her biggest supporters. You know, her husband, and getting her to change her name, getting her to move, encouraging her. Well, basically Annie Malone, the real Annie Malone, already had a lot of popularity. Kind of like he was like, she already got her niche, and you kind of in her niche. So go somewhere else where you could have your own niche. It had nothing to do with the rival. So it was just
that the whole Annie Malone thing was probably the biggest crime in the show because of the fact that she was an actual real woman who has a legacy that deserves more respect than they gave.
Right.
That was probably the biggest crime that was committed in the midst of that particular show. But as you said, sis, that's kind of old news now. So I just went
no, like that's 2 years ago. Like coronavirus is taking over all of that.
You know what I'm saying? Everything, you know what I mean? So we're gonna move on. I'm gonna open up the line, kings and queens. You can come on and make show your love to the goddess Neith if you so wish. I'm gonna share the link in the chat right now so that you can come on and talk to the goddess Neith, ask a question, make a comment, or even just show your love. And I have to make this clear because we've got a sister, on line with us at the moment. Yeah, when I say show your love, be sensible, kings and queens. All right, kings in particular, kings in particular. Be sensible, you know what I'm saying? Don't get overexcited in these things, you know what I'm saying? Like, sensible, universal love, right. For sure,
I'm your sister first, please.
All right, kings and queens. So I'm sharing the link right about now. If you want to come through, please come through with your mic muted, and I will definitely get to you shortly. Whilst you're here, like up the video. Make sure you increase the presence of this video on the digital space, and also subscribe to the goddess Neith. You can do so by clicking the link that is in the description to this video. The link to join our conversation live right about now is in the chat. So if you would like to speak to the goddess Neith, come through. Echo says that we should check out Quali TV and maybe take a break from Netflix. Certainly, I would agree with that. I'm sure the goddess Neith would too.
Right.
Let us see. I believe I saw one earlier from J Cast. Shakara, question for Neith. Neith, let the UK, know about your love and respect for the work of the great Frances Cress Wilson. Stay safe.
Oh yes, for sure. Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. I wouldn't be me if it weren't for Dr. Frances. She was kind of like one of the reasons why the Burkitt lymphoma that my professor gave me just made so much sense. I had started studying science probably seriously around the 6th or 7th grade, and then I just took it all the way up until college. But it wasn't until I came into her doctrine and her understanding of the Punnett Square that everything kind of just like made sense. It's kind of like when you have a certain breakthrough. Once I had listened to her and I had found out who she was, and she explained the fear of white genetic annihilation, I then went back on every example I saw, every Punnett Square I drew, the learning about the pea plant, Gregor Mendel, which is we call like the father of genetics. I just went back through all of these examples, and it was just kind of like a huge deja vu experience. And I was like, wow, this is why it exists. This is why the mice are always white. This is why the wild type is recessive. Like, this is why the mutant strain is the black strain. Everything that I was learning in college made sense from there on. But like I said, because when you're in college, you can't just be outrightly disagreeing with what they're saying in the textbooks. You just study what they want you to study, make the A on the exam, and get out of the course. So Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, if it weren't for her pursuing her understanding of why the white students, her patients, remember she was a psychologist, and she was examining what all of this fear that they felt, or this insecurity, this alienation was. And it was through her understanding with her science background and her psychology background, she put it together, and she added the equation up correctly. And it was through reading her equation, color confrontation, the crest theory, that I found so much around. So when he gave me Burkitt lymphoma, I immediately saw it as genetic warfare. It was biological warfare. It wasn't natural. I was like, oh, this is biological warfare. So, it's simply women like Dr. Francis and even men like Neely Fully and others that continuously just push the fold. Like there's more to the equation.
Well, I'll tell you this: is being raised in the conscious community in the 90s, the 80s and 90s. The ISIS space was biblical. As you know what I'm saying, like it was almost religious reading, and we got a lot from it. I do want to ask you a question about that in a second, but I want to introduce and bring in our uncle, Brother Kidi Obi Awadu, live from Las Vegas, Kings and Queens. It's a U.S. invasion. I've got gotkushTV right about now, Kings and Queens. Greetings, Hotep, uncle. How are you?
We black and we shine. What a joy it is to hear such an intelligent, culturally conscious, relevant conversation. I'm living in America right now, and this place is done gone buck wild. The inmates have taken over the asylum.
Oh, wow. Oh, I thought you meant that literally for a second, Sorry. Yeah. What's your comment to Goddess Neith this afternoon?
Well, I just want to say greetings to my beloved sister, Goddess Neith. I have heard about your channel, but this is the first time I really had a chance to focus in, and I'm really loving everything that you're doing. I especially, and this is, particular for me, as I'm an author. In fact, I just last night around 2 a.m. finished my 35th book and sent it to the printer. So we're on a little bit of a roll. But I really appreciate the fact that you are anchoring everything that you're saying in verifiable, provable facts. As we know that in these days of extreme panic, fear, paranoia, superstition, people are latching on to these little bits and pieces of stuff they're getting across the internet and liable to say anything as if it were verifiable truth. So I like your process. I'm a new subscriber to your channel. I'm going to encourage everybody to learn more about you. So I'm going to push you through my network. And, this brother Shakara, he's kind of smart too. Maybe you could just tell us what you think about gotkushTV and bringing it on with your UK massive today.
Yeah, I actually found out about gotkushTV years ago, probably about the same time you were introduced to me. I was introduced to you. I kind of have this obsession with figuring out the different forms of Black music on various geographical planes. So I want to hear kind of like the rap and R&B of South America, of Canada, of, the UK, of Australia. So when I was introduced to your platform and I saw how many artists you all brought, I was just kind of like, oh, this is so dope. Like I'm being able to see what the Black folks do in the UK. That's truly why I was interested in joining the platform and subscribing. So from there, seeing it blossom and grow to be a platform that I would even be able to speak on, I was just totally like, whoa. So to be honest, I didn't even know what all it meant to the UK initially, especially like 3 or 4 years ago when I first subscribed. I thought I was just going to be able to hear some brothers and sisters that was giving some good, words, giving some good music. I thought that's what I was going to be doing.
Yeah. Good facts. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. There's more shows coming. And yeah, this was something that we just had to formulate in response to the whole lockdown situation. We still got to connect. You said something, Goddess Neith, in one of your videos that we shouldn't socially isolate. Yeah, we should physically isolate, but socially connect. Right. And so it was about social connection. And when I thought of social connection, I thought Goddess Neith. You know what I'm saying? And I put it to the team, and the team was saying, well, yes, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I hollered, and she's here. You know what I'm saying? Brother Kini, you have any further contributions?
Well, I was actually checking through my email, and I wasn't able to see that message from you. So if you want to resend that, I'll be looking forward always to connecting. Can't wait to get back over across the pond to the foggy country and get a chance to enjoy your beautiful company with no sun for a couple of weeks again. And
you got Brother Kitty, come in July, August, you know what I'm saying? Maybe September, there's more chances of getting the sun, you know what I mean?
That's right. Or I'll bring a big suitcase full of July and August Nevada sun. We actually have a little bit to spare around that time of the year. And the last question I want to ask, and this is really about progress for the long run. Are either of you familiar with, Aliko Dangote, the wealthiest black man in the world, had pledged to bring 20 to 50 billion dollars worth of investment capital to the Eurozone and to America this year? Well, we do know things are delayed, so we have a little more time. But my new book is actually written to address Aliko Dangote's outreach to do this investment. So are either of you reporting on Aliko Dangote? I know he has opened offices in New York and London to further this plan. And on that note, I bow out. I say namaste, Ubuntu to my sister and to my brother. I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Baba.
Please stay tuned, Brother Kini will be with us. We're going to make sure that we work out whatever communication issues we have. But you called for Brother Kini to come back, and so we're going to make sure that he gets back within the next 2 weeks. Next week or the week after, Kings and Queens, Brother Kini will be here, and we're going to go deep into how many papers is it? 9 papers that you've written on the whole COVID-19 situation at the moment. So we're going to get deep into it, Kings and Queens. So do stay tuned. Thank you, Baba. We'll speak to you soon. Take care. Right, Dangote. In relation to Dangote, I am researching him at the moment from a number of different perspectives. And he will be featuring in a future episode of the Insight, the show that I run in relation to some of the works. I'm looking at it from an economic and a Pan-African political perspective, because I know some brothers and sisters Pan-Africanists on the ground in Nigeria who have queries and questions about the brother, and other Africans around the diaspora who celebrate him as a stalwart or an example of black business achievement in that regard. You got a contribution there, Sister Neith?
Yeah, as far as to answer your question, Baba, I have not, as far as put out content or cued myself to put out content on it. However, I will for sure look into it and definitely give my perspective on it. That you said the investment will be outside of Africa. It'll be for UK and the United States.
Yes, this is for the Eurozone and the United States. He's primarily interested in 2 areas, petrochemicals and renewable energy. I have prepared myself to be on that renewable energy, but now his new work is about food, and that's the subject of the new book. As you know, Brother Shaka Ra, the new book, The Blackest Soil, Africa Can Feed the World. Let's talk about that.
Yes, definitely. Well, and we'll touch on that when we speak to you when you got your own session, Baba Kidi. So we're going to go in. I'm very excited about that work. You know what I'm saying? So we look forward to having that conversation. Kings and Queens, the link is in the chat. Yeah, the link is in the chat. So if you want to speak to the goddess Neith, feel free to come in with your mic muted, and I'll get to you. I'll be sure to get to you. All right. So feel free once again to come through. The link is in the chat. I want to big up A. Crawley in the chat saying, they're having their own little private conversation in the chat. As it goes, Goddess Steve, when you're doing lives, the chat is its own animal. They do their own thing.
Right, no, but for real. Sometimes you read the comment and they talking to one another. You be like, oh, my bad. Y'all talking to
KW Dunn says Aliko Dangote is a bit too chummy with Bill Genocide Gates. Interesting point there. Why is Dangote investing so much out of Nigeria and Africa? Interesting question there. Goddess Neith, you in relation to Mama Frances Cress Wilson, and the work that she was trying to fulfill. She was a psychiatrist, as you said, so she wasn't a biologist in that sense. You're working in biology, but she used to promote studies in melanin, and these kinds of things. Have you done any studies or investigation into the whole melanin theory? Because there are even arguments and debates taking place at the moment regarding whether Mama Frances Cress Wilson was correct or not in promoting the idea of melanin in the way that she did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be honest, when I probably first started doing videos, I looked up maybe about 7 to 10 papers about melanin. Asia does a lot of research over melanin. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, they do a lot of research. That's where the majority of your content would be coming out as far as your research articles there that I found. But I'm not gonna lie to you. A part of the reason why we need a big hub of scientists is because science is like the internet. It's broad. Like science is the internet. But you know, just like the internet, you have different websites you can click on to, and that leads you to different type of content. To me, what I feel like is important is really gaining a hand and a foot in the system of within the system that white supremacy is created. Like being able to shut off some of the panels of power on behalf of white supremacy and turn on the panels of Black folks. So something that I personally am more so concerned about is not necessarily melanin. Some scientists may love melanin and want to teach about how great we are as Black people because it exists. And you know, you have those scientists who could study melanin right now and be able to show why we are maybe more resistant to COVID-19, or why you're not seeing the exposure that you're seeing in the rest of the world happen in Africa. That would be what type of scientist you would want to talk to about that. I'm more so a scientist that is trying to figure out the formula, how to take what I would call a coon, how to take a Black person that thinks backwards and waywards and get them up to date psychologically to where we are. You know, to be able to figure out if you could take behavior mechanisms, trauma, sexual addiction to children, sexual addiction or sexual desire for the same sex. Can we change these behaviors? Is it possible? And then the area of science that I'm interested in going in is trying to figure out what is contained in this water. Give me any specimen and bring it to me and let me diagnose it and see what is in this. That's me.
Yeah. So go on, sis.
Well, yeah. So that's kind of like one of the it's kind of like a frustration of mine personally, and maybe other scientists. You have a botanists or scientists who are going to study plants. So they're going to be probably the ones that are interested in getting an African pharmaceutical company that would be more holistic. It's so many areas to attack. You just got to figure out which area is going to be for you. I'm more so trying to figure out how to get Black folks on the page to get us activated to white supremacy. Yeah, melanin can make us float. I don't care. You know?
No, sis, I'm not gonna lie. I do agree with you. I do agree with you. At the same time, you know, sis, I do want to bring another recently ascended ancestor to the space, just as you mentioned what you've mentioned, because you reminded me of him, and that's Baba Layla Africa, who recently passed away, who was doing that work, done a whole book on the subject called Nutricide, that was telling us what's in the water and what's in this and what's in that. Wow. And you know I'm saying, so I want to salute you for kind of, you know, standing on those shoulders. And I look forward to your book.
Right. Ashe, thank you. I appreciate it. Look, y'all be holding me so accountable. I don't know. When you gonna open the school? Well, damn. I'm opening the school now, soon.
Now, sis, whilst the people them are plucking up the courage to stand before the goddess Neith and ask a question, let me ask you about your series on religion. Yeah. I've been enjoying this series. I have been enjoying this series. I didn't actually know that you were coming from such a deep Christian background prior to, but I enjoy it because I love to hear people's journey into consciousness. So quote unquote, in the sense of the fact that I don't take it for granted because I was born in it. Even being born in it, there are journeys, and because there are so few of us that most people are not born into it. So I'm very acquainted with the journeys, yeah, that people go through. So, first of all, what inspired you to start this series on losing your religion?
So many people. Okay, so many people had asked me questions about what happened because I was kind of like the picturesque Christian queen. I was like, the Proverbs 31 wife.
I am. Right.
The reason why I'm dressed like this is because I literally just turned my camera off.
Okay.
I even got my church gear on because I want the video. Come watch the video. So yeah, like I even dressed like I was going to church for the video, so people will watch. Because you know, some people can't handle the content for real. Like some people really can't handle the content.
Yes.
But, so, like I had individuals that had saw the transformation. It was just kind of like, basically, how did you fall so far?
Right.
And not only did you fall so far, how could you fall and then transform yourself and now have these beliefs? And you know, where did you do it? Like, I just probably had questions over the last 3 or 4 years. And, it got to the point that I think a lot of us were going through it and were like suffering in silence a little bit. And I remember I used to be a part of this organization called RB, and we used to do this thing called RBG Fridays. And it was 1 or 2 of the members who mentioned like, yeah, I'm going to church on Sunday. And I was like, you going to what? Like, you going to church? Like, when they're like, yeah, I'm going to church on Sunday. And that's when I started connecting. Oh, there's still some of us that are a part of Christianity and kind of like are in that limbo state. So it was just time. And then as someone who was deeply spiritual and deeply religious, I'm not going to lie, having that portion of my life taken away kind of left like a void. It left like a huge void that I always wanted to replace with what we believed prior to Christianity. So even in my journeys now, I recently spoke with the brother he's kind of like a Pan-Africanist preacher, what we would call a preacher, but he teaches African liberated theology, and what we would be teaching back in Kemet is what he's kind of bringing. So he thinks of not even just having a church. He says, I want to create like a Maiatic covenant, like where we go back to Maiat. And I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I want to create. So this was kind of like the beginning of me grabbing someone's hand who's still a believer and saying, walk with me.
Right.
Walk with me. You know, I know it's scary. If you could just come back, I don't even give them too much. You know, I'm only going to give you like 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. I realize that. I see that. You kind of preempted my next question, which is where are you in your spiritual journey at the moment? I define myself as an African spiritualist. I was raised in very Pan-African but spiritualist circles, and so kind of bringing that whole energy of I'm not just one indigenous spiritual system, but I embrace them all, and I'm comfortable in those spaces. But I know that the institutionalization of African spiritual kind of traditions is not on the level of the church. Like you ain't gonna walk down the road and see a building that's dedicated to indigenous spiritual systems.
Right.
So people find it very difficult to find fellowship and community when they leave an Abrahamic religion. Just what I'm saying. So oftentimes I know people that they're in church because of the community rather than they're in the spirit. Just what I'm saying. Like, you know. So yeah, I was gonna ask you where are you in your spiritual journey at the moment, other than what you just mentioned in terms of finding this elder. What would you like to share about that? If I'm not preempting a feature episode, I don't want to preempt a feature episode. So.
No. This is an advertiser. Y'all gotta go watch it. It's the same thing you said, along the same lines of being an African spiritualist. I choose to believe. I'm kind of more of the Kemetic science than I am kind of like Orishas, but there have been times in my life that I did go back to Ifa. I'm definitely down with original African spirituality. So what were we studying along the various now civilizations? What were they embracing here? I try to keep myself open to always listening. So even if it's something that I might not agree with or something that I don't really care to hear, I still want to hear it out simply because I owe myself that. Like I owe me that.
Yes.
With everything that I've been lied to about, I owe myself just the opportunity to hear something out. but just where I am in my life, I do read the precepts of my I try to meditate. I try to consistently call on my ancestors and recognize that I'm not here simply just by me. I do believe in a higher being. I refer to him and her as the creator. I don't have, a genderized higher being.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just listen to my heart, and I feel like I listen to the world. At this point, I feel like as an African, you'll understand that. Like, we just listen to the world. And I'm just trying to get more in tune. A part of where I'm at also is my spirituality is attached to my diet, which is attached to my thoughts. They're all interconnected. So I'm at the point of trying to get my diet where it needs to be to allow me to access spiritually where I need to access, so that's my battle. Y'all battling maybe like sin and flesh. I'm battling, almond milk and cattle milk. Like,
have you heard of a documentary series called Ancestral Voices?
No.
So we have our very own brother out of the UK called Dalian Adofo and his wife, Sister Verona Spence Adofo. Yeah, they have a documentary called Ancestral Voices that goes into a breakdown of African spirituality. So I recommend that to you. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. I'm sure that you're gonna get a lot from it. I'm putting it into the universe that you'll do a review once you've watched it.
I say.
There's 2 DVDs and a book. Yeah, so check that out. They've got a website, everything. Just Google it, you'll find it. It's good stuff to get into. In Kings and Queens, we've got like 10 minutes left here with the goddess Neith. So if you want to get in now, the link is in the chat. If you want to join the conversation in relation to this now, sis, because we've got a brother over here by the name of Jahar Zelia, who is a rapper, an MC, and he was very, very well known in the church, when he was a Christian. In fact, I got to know him because there's a show over here called Friday Night Flavors, which is a hip hop show, and they used to have battles live on air on the show. And this brother used to phone in and battle, and he won like 4 weeks in a row. And turned out he's a gospel rapper, right? So he's a gospel rapper, and he gets very big, in the church over here, and these kinds of things. And eventually, he kind of leaves the church, right? And the backlash was immense. And around that time, we kind of got close to the brother. I was talking to him, and he had a few, freestyles on gotkushTV and a music video. And so the backlash that he was getting made its way to our channel because brothers and sisters from the church were coming in and saying, "Look at this backslider," I'm saying that kind of stuff. So, what has been the reaction that you've gotten to your series on losing religion?
Oh yeah, of course you got the comments of those who were kind of like, you didn't know that Black people are the original Jews.
Right.
You got kind of like, you have those who still are going to hold on to Jesus Christ and Christianity, which is understandable because I would have been one of those people at that time. That knee-jerk reaction and response is expected. That's what you're supposed to do. Then I have those who are kind of like Hebrew Israelites that are kind of like, nah, sister, you need to let this go. It's really this. And as far as the backlash, I kind of expected it. I'm not going to lie to you. That's one of the things that you do learn if you are going to be in like the social media digital world. After a while, you do learn how to deal with those comments. You get better and better and better at it. It's always going to be somebody who disagrees. It's always going to be someone who doesn't even watch 2 minutes of the video and is going to comment and talk about all the stuff that you've already explained in the video. But I think it's more good than bad. And because it's more people that are receptive, like it's people that are kind of like leaving comments like, if you leave with another cliffhanger, I am going to hurt you, So those type of comments are the comments that fuel me to let me know, okay, this is relative. This is relevant. Somebody does want to hear the content. So that's just what it comes down to. As far as people saying that, I even saw another influencer, another YouTuber. She was just kind of like, she put on her video that the Christian community was upset with her right now. And it just happens. Like if I'm recalling correctly, as a believer, anyone who comes up against Jesus Christ is an enemy of God, and therefore you have to treat them as such.
Yes.
So you know, I'm just kind of like, I only expect it. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why, even if you see in my videos, I try to give it a little bit humor.
Yeah.
Humor to it.
You know what, sis, what I appreciate about the way you present, though, and I'm saying that this is somebody who's not coming from the church background, but you are very respectful and sympathetic to people's journeys, and I think that's very important. And I think it's something that we could all learn from, coming out of this Black conscious kind of movement. That, you know, just telling people that it's the white man's religion, it is, you know, there's a nuance and a journey. Some people even forget that they went through that journey.
Yeah, it's scary. These people are scared.
Right. You know what I'm saying? When they're on the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very important. Have you been in tune? Because there's been some recent debates, yeah? Was it end of last year? On Sarnetta and them channels there, with Black Christians and Vince Bantu and versus Brother Jabari. And some Christian, you know, Kemetic debates that have been going on. Have you been tuning into those debates?
No, let me tell you. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've watched Sinetta TV a couple of times. I know who the brother is. I probably watched about 5 or 10 of his videos, but it's just kind of like the same thing with Melanin with Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. If that's, you know, her journey and that's what she loves, by all means. But anytime I see a group of Black folks who have red, black, and green on, and we claim that we're Pan-Africanists, and I don't hear white supremacy and how we're trying to attack that, the minute I hear arguing, I'm putting out. I don't care who's valid. I don't care who's right. Bye.
I do hear what you're saying, and this is why I think we appreciate you in this space, is because we do need, you know, some different voices in the Black conscious space, on, you know, in the digital age. You know what I'm saying? So I give thanks. We've got our brother joining us right about now. Brother Echo, greetings, Brother Echo. Would you mind? Oh yeah, we'll get to you now. I got a question in the chat as well, so we'll get to that in a second. But Brother Echo, greetings and welcome to gotkushTV.
Yeah, greetings, Wagwan.
I'm good, King. How are you?
Give thanks, you know, and big up yourself, sister. You're doing a great work. I just recently, you know, was checking out your page and stuff, so I'll be looking into more of your content. But like, my question is like to like both of you anyway, and I think for everybody that's watching is like, because basically my journey is kind of similar, coming from a Christian upbringing, and you know, I've switched over to, you know, letting go of religion and all of these things because I realize that it just creates division among us as a people, right? So my thing is, when I was looking at it, I'm wondering how much of us are doing like a real, you know, inner work in terms of, you know, dealing with the emotional, psychological, because I don't think sometimes we realize the depth of what colonization and slavery did to us as a people. Because I realize a lot of people will come over into Pan-Africanism and Black Power and they still have hang-ups. So it's like a superiority complex is trying to be projected like, okay, I got the best information, so you need to come over here, you know, and then there's clashing between all of us. So it's like we keep re-traumatizing ourselves. So I look at it because I watch content over everything sometimes, and I realize everybody's always debating about this and people who got secondhand information and whatever. So I just sum up everything and I look at it and I'm like, yo, you know what? The best thing right now is to observe nature, because nature is always constant. She has never really deceived us in any way, shape, or form. And even when you live in an urban community, after a while, when a house is abandoned, trees and roots and everything take it over back. So in the end, nature will always win. So I just think that nature is a good example for us to really emulate. Not putting down our history or saying that, you know, our elders, you know, didn't do much for us. They did, because everybody did a lot that they could do with what they had at the time, because everybody was either influenced by Islam or Christianity or whatever, but they did all that they can. But I say all of this to say that, you know, for me, I'm in the electrical field, and for the electrical circuit to work correctly, You need positive and negative. So no matter what, either you are pushing out there and the negative comments and whatever, they do have their place because like I've already learned in African spirituality, there's no devil, but there is positive and there is negative energy, right? And just as I say in the electrical field, you need positive and negative to balance electrical circuit for it to operate properly. So that's just my 2 cents on everything and just giving everybody strength, because sometimes we get caught up in the bumping our heads and debating on who's right from who's wrong. And I think a lot of those traits come over from, religion that either of us came out of, where everybody's trying to promote something to really get souls or people to follow them. So, that's just my thing. I just wonder how deep we go in doing the inner work to get past those hangups and, stop re-triggering ourselves, really.
Okay. You got a thought on that, Goddess Neith?
Yes, I definitely agree. Like you said, this a right amount of energy, the right amount of positive and negative energy. I just feel like it's all about where your placement is, what you feel like your purpose in life is, what you're trying to get. I have this adamant focus on the European and just focus. And I feel like all of us are always so busy arguing with one another and beating up on one another. We always let him go. So, the scenes whenever the war episodes are going on, the king will be in the midst of the war and it'll still be somebody who tells the king out and they just pursue everything else is, that's just kind of like me at this point. So I agree with you, brother. To thine own self be true.
Yeah, for real. I mean, Neely Fuller said it, Neely Fuller said something that was very striking. It was like, okay, so you were the big civilization, but obviously, and you taught everybody else, but obviously somebody else was smarter because they overthrew you. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? Nations rise and nations fall. So I mean, it's just unfortunate for at that time our nation, fell, and we haven't recovered since. So it's a balance, really.
Yes, King. Give part to that. Oh, you wanted my thoughts on it as well. I agree with you, bro. I think that we've had some of the best psychological minds, given to us as a community. We've mentioned Mama Frances Chris Welton. We've mentioned Baba Neely Fuller, Baba Amos Wilson. There is also Wade Nobles. There's there's so many others who have done this work. Bobby E. Wright, is another one. If brothers and sisters don't know, get to know. But they've done so much fantastic work in terms of developing methods of thought and psychological well-being that speak to us in our condition and our liberation journey. Yeah, and there is so much work that has done that we are yet to make the most of. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not even that it's not there. It's just that we're not utilizing some of what is already there and trying to magnify and develop it and building it in the ways that we should be. And so I'd very much agree with you. There's a need for us to make working on behalf of our people a part of that therapeutic process, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like in a sense of the fact that fighting for your liberation is self-therapy. You know what I'm saying? And there are ways to do that without magnifying trauma and being conscious of, we've been given all this stuff about, Goddess Neith mentioned, the virtues of Ma'at. And if we truly understand what they are and what they mean in terms of being a guidance for our behavior, then we would act differently. Do you know what I'm saying? If we truly looked at Ptah Hotep and the guidance that he gave as, for our behavior, then we would act differently. So the tools are there. It's just about us being able to employ them. And I want to say that the key in the process is to be able to institutionalize the knowledge, as Baba John Henrik Clark said, that people rise and fall within the context of institutions. Yeah. To do anything, if we're gonna make anything beneficial for us, we have to be about trying to make an institution out of it. There's an edifice whereby these principles can be practiced and shared among collectives.
Your mic going in and out.
Oh, is it? Sorry. I apologize. I'm having mic issues today, Kings and Queens. I do really apologize. I hope you can hear me clearly now. Is that better?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I'm just basically saying that we need to do more with what our ancestors have done and institutionalize the knowledge so that for the greater benefit of our community at large. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, one more thing before I go, because I know other people want to say something, but as you were mentioning about Dr. Frances Cress Wellsing, I realized that I was watching an interview with her. She had a young child as a patient, right? With the whole therapy and whatever. And she said to the little boy, you probably have seen it. She said to the little boy, why aren't you doing your schoolwork? Don't you want to, do well and come and help Black people? And she said, the little boy said, no, I don't want to help Black people, because if you help Black people, you're going to die. Look at Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. And she was so amazed by it because he was telling the truth. Because think about it. Think about the plantation. Any strong Black man or Black woman that rise up to, take over and to free, fellow enslaved, they were caught, they were disciplined, they were killed. And the whole congregation sees that. So that traumatizes people. So that little boy sees Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and all these people getting crucified because they're trying to help Black people. So consciously, he doesn't want to do that. So I can imagine a lot of our people see all of this happening, and a lot of people don't really want to get involved because they don't want to die. So it's the reality, and we just have to deal with the trauma properly.
Thank you very much, Brother Echo. Give thanks for joining us. Give thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us on gotkushTV.
Yeah, man, respect.
Right, we're gonna wrap up the show right about now, Kings and Queens. We've got one more question from the chat. And then we're going to close off the show.
Shakira, I was about to say, I love that feminism question. I was just about to say, I love that question.
Yeah, we're going to get to this right now. By the way, this is my queen asking the question,
Oh, how you
doing? So yeah, she says, question for our sister: what is your stance on feminism, and what have you received? And have you received any backlash for it?
Kind of like double. I've never really just spoken about how I feel about feminism. I think it's kind of just like alluded in my message. People can kind of get the takeaway. Do I feel like what we see right now as far as feminism, misogyny, the fist wrapped in a circle, I definitely think that's a movement that hijacks any attention off of Black people. And it's kind of like the white woman scapegoating her issue on Black women and the frustration that she feels. And I feel like so many women, this is what I say about feminism. I feel like because Black people, where we are as Black men and women, as far as our relationship goes, because many of us have also taken European values, but the way our relationships work and function aren't as proper and efficient as they could be. And because we see the issues that we experience in our relationships as with Black men in the feminist movement as well, I feel like we latch on to it, and it's just kind of like, okay, killing two birds with one stone. You can kind of even see the LGBT trend or that community try to hold on to the Black issue and try to fuse them and make it seem like they're one and the same. Do I feel as if the Black man is intentionally holding a Black woman down and he's our problem, and if we just got him out of the way, we would be fine? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't agree with that at all. Do I believe that feminism should be something that Black women are supporting right now? No. I believe that Black folks in general, the only thing we should be engaged on are race-based issues. If the issue isn't race-based, if it's about gender, if it's about spirituality, if it's about economics, financial backing, if it's about where you live, what you call yourself as, if it's not about race, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. However, the relationship that we have with Black men and the relationship that Black men have with us, I feel like it's been tarnished, and the role of the Black woman has been tarnished. So I I will say when you talk to some Black men, it feels as if there is kind of like this reservation to this is what my position is, and this is the only position that I could be in because you are the quote unquote man. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. However, when we look back in our history, this isn't how our kings treated us at all. So, you know, that's just where I'm at. I'm not one for feminism. However, I'm also not for what we have right now either. I'm just about going back in everything, going back in food, going back in language, going back in identity, going back in psychology, just going back. So that's what I say.
That's a beautiful way to end the thing. We could do a whole show on that, Goddess Neith. Always one of my passionate questions. But I say that not feminism is not one of my passionate subjects, but the disconnect between Black men and women. And I'm very passionate about the fact that there is a lot of work we need to do on ourselves as Black men to bring healing to our communities. And we should be conscious of it. We should be conscious of that work, whatever our thoughts are on feminism or not. You know what I'm saying? Goddess Neith, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, my sister, and making this connection. We want to just make sure that you know that gotkushTV is here to support you in whatever ways that we can. You know what I'm saying? So feel free to reach out to us if there is any way that we can, because in this space we have to, you know, form these connections and make sure they maintain themselves. So thank you. I just love the fact that you were so willing to come and join us on the platform today. You know, so give thanks for your energy, my sister. This is gotkushTV. We want to remind you to make sure that you subscribe to the Goddess Neith's channel, which is the Blackest Truth. The link for the channel is in the description. Say that again.
I'm trying to point to it. I don't know where it is.
It's below the video. It's just below the video. Just below the video. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, in the description, kings and queens, just check it out. Make sure you subscribe to the Blackest Truth. Like up this video, kings and queens. Share it. Make everybody know that the Blackest Truth is there. And check out our website, gotkushtv.com. That's gotkushtv.com for all our channels. Later on this week on Friday, we are going to be releasing another episode of Voyage to Motherland. Our very own Nat Nye and Stella B have been traveling to the motherland, Nigeria, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. And you know, they filmed it, kings and queens, and brought back the footage, and we're going to be sharing it with you live on gotkushTV. So make sure you check that out. You know what I'm saying? And do stay tuned for more releases all throughout the isolation and the quarantine, because true say it's lockdown, it don't mean so we pop down, kings and queens. So this is the Blackest Truth. You've been listening to gotkushTV, and always remember, you ain't got nothing if you ain't got Kush.
gotkushTV. After a stellar 2019, your #1 Black conscious media platform is getting ready to go into overdrive for 2020. As we promised last year, we launched The Inside. We premiered the pilot for the Black Group Economic Show. We dropped 2 new seasons of Wordsmith, the #1 platform for artists with a message in the music. We've seen you out on the road, the Black Carpet Awards, the Reparations March, the Legacy Center of Excellence, and more. We brought you Dr. Mumbi, the legendary Bob Andy, Queen Diambi, Kemi Seba, Esther Stanford Hossein, Leo Mohammed, Brother Leader Badaka, and more. And now, 2020 is set to see gotkushTV taking it to the next level. First up, look out for the official launch of the gotkushTV website, your official portal for all things GKTV, including new shows, news, views, and reviews, soon to be serving you with advertising opportunities and the launch of the GKTV African market. gotkushtv.com will also be a global hub for all things Black, conscious, and empowering from all over the Black world. Black achievers, Black excellence, education, health, positive Black imagery, entrepreneurs, Black brands, and charity work. All this and more can be found here at gotkushtv.com. Then there's the new show, The Cypher, the dynamic discussion and debate show. Health is Wealth, practical tips for living in wellness. Kush University, home of Black warrior scholarship. and UK Fire Entertainment, bringing you a slew of music videos for your listening and viewing pleasure. Look out for more of the insight, worth with, and the full third season of the Black Economic Show, all coming your way soon. As always, the GKTV film team is available for hire to cover your events and all filming needs. Visit us at gotkushTV.com for hire inquiries and more information. Stand by all black businesses through our website, social media, and show content. We have monumental advertising, sponsorship, and network opportunities catering especially for you. gotkushTV is about to take off. To join us for the ride, there's 4 things you can do. 1, subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell to make sure you don't miss a release. Join us on all social media and hit up gotkushTV.com to subscribe to our mailing list for exclusive opportunities in the near future. 2, like. Let us know you're feeling our content by hitting that ever so important button of approval. 3, comment. We want to hear your feedback on everything we're putting out. So make sure your presence is felt in the comment section. 4, share. Spread the word by hitting that share button and exposing your circle to the magnificence that is gotkushTV. We look forward to building with you throughout 2020 and servicing you with high quality black media production. gotkushTV. Beyond discussion, beyond debate, we put the power in black media.